The night after, the day before, I suppose you could say, and I didn't obviously get to have my say on the review for that Charity Shield game against Liverpool, but there was a couple of things that struck me and are kind of bothering me that I wanted to talk about, and I thought Joe was the right man to get on and talk about this with me. And that, of course, is the evident slow start to the season Manchester City seem to have every year. I mean, last year we lost the Charity Shield as well, if you remember correctly, to Leicester, a game we really should have won. And then we went on to lose our first league game to Tottenham. And the season before was very similar. You know, poor results at the start of the season. And then everyone writes off City because we don't look ourselves. And people say this is the year City fall apart. And maybe Pep's time is up and he can't. And he's lost the dressing room. And all these mad accusations come out as to why we start the season so slow. And then bang, a couple of months in, we put a win streak of 13-14 together. And all of a sudden, those poor results at the start of the season are forgotten about. But what I want to talk about is why are we starting slow to the season? And I think it's one obvious factor. And whilst Manchester City, the board, the backroom staff, the players, the manager, everybody, whilst we 9 times out of 10 get everything right, and I really believe that, I think we're a highly efficient run club. We're run fantastically from top to bottom in almost every department. There is one thing that I do think we get slightly wrong every year without fail, and that of course is pre-season. There was a massive difference in performance between City and Liverpool yesterday, and why is that? Both teams are you know, the 2 best teams in Europe right now, but why does one look so much fitter and sharper than the other? Liverpool looked like a team who have had a proper pre-season, and they did. They played 5 or 6 games against different levels of opposition. They tried out different things. They experimented different things. They let Darwin Núñez have a few bad misses, have a few poor games, get to know his teammates, settle in, and you have to give it to Darwin Núñez. The guy looked good when he came on. He did. He was putting the fear into Ruben Diaz. He forced that penalty, and he got his goal. The guy looked good. Haaland, on the other hand, who has played 40 minutes in a Manchester City shirt before that Charity Shield game, he looked every minute of it. Why? Because he played the 40 minutes. We had 2 pre-season games. I know I'm rambling on, and Joe, you can have your say in a sec, but we had 2 pre-season games. Club America, an opposition who, yes, they gave it to us, they tried to get stuck into us. They're not on the level that we would like to have had a pre-season against. Bayern Munich, definitely a team that's good to have a pre-season game against, but if you want a proper pre-season, you need 5, 6, 7 games where you can let players get their feel for the ball again, get the feel for playing with each other again, let new players settle in. And the fact that we're only having 2 pre-season games most summers, or you know, half a pre-season every summer, it is contributing to a slow start to the season, Joe, and it's getting a little bit frustrating, because if this leaks into West Ham next week and maybe Bournemouth the week after, and there is a few massive games in September, October, it can damage the season. I mean, we can't rely on a 14-15 game winning streak every season.
No, but it's nice to know that we can do that, to bail us out earlier on. Like, we're capable of it, but it's not nice to go into a busy festive period. Well, the busy festive period isn't going to happen this year, but post-World Cup, when it starts to get busy, when we've had that break, when fixtures are piling up because they need to fit them in a smaller space, it's not nice to be playing 3 times a week and go, well, we have to win and win and win and win. We have to win 3 times a week until the end of the season. It's not good. It takes a toll on the players. And it could be a contributing factor as to why we don't have long pre-seasons, because we work so much out of the players having to go on them 20-game unbeaten runs playing 3 times a week until the end of the season, and we just don't have the time. We need to give the players their time off, and then we need to get them back in for pre-season. Maybe that's a factor, but it still doesn't change the fact how, while you were talking there, I went and I've searched for pre-season games just to get a proper solid number. We didn't even play 2. Our second one was 10 minutes short because of the weather. And even if we were even allowed to play 22 players at once for 2 games, it's still not really enough. 2 sets of 90 minutes for pre-season. Liverpool played 4 games. United played 5 games. I'm looking at Spurs here. I think they've played 4 games themselves. Like, it's not good having you'd say competitors. Those teams, obviously Liverpool are going to challenge us for the title. You'd imagine that the teams like Spurs, Chelsea, United, they're going to obviously fall away during the season, but they will be there in the top 4. Like, teams who are going to challenge us and give us a game are playing double our pre-season. It's not a good look. They're more prepared than us, even if they're not You know, even if their squad isn't more prepared because they're not doing transfers like United, fighting with Barcelona over players like Frankie de Jong, they're still more match prepared because they've got the minutes in the legs. They've played double our pre-season. It's not good. And it was the same thing that happened last year. We played 3 games against teams who we'd be lucky to get in the Carabao Cup. Like, they were League One sides. It wasn't really a test. And half the teams in our pre-season last year were EDS players because half our squad was missing. It's not great, and obviously I'm disappointed that we lost against Liverpool because I never want to lose against Liverpool, but we need minutes and we need minutes fast. Like, West Ham away, first game of the season is not good. Like, if we start slow there, they could beat us. They got a draw against us at the end of last season when obviously our squad was a bit leggy and we had a few injuries, but there was nothing to do with our match sharpness. We were like at the top level, like we were at the end of the season. We're coming into it now, West Ham away, where we drew last season, into a squad that just looks so rusty, so off it, so out of sync, so out of rhythm. Which, bearing in mind, it's only the one game at the start of the season. You'd imagine that being our second game in a week, we'd slowly build from there. And you look at Bournemouth, no disrespect, but Bournemouth at home, a newly promoted side, you look at that and go, should be a little bit easier. We should be beating them. But again, like, I don't want to start slow because it probably won't cost us. But imagine if it was the other way around, that we were losing to Liverpool by a point and we go, well, we started the season slow, we lost the opening game. Like, I don't want that.
Liverpool probably look back at all the seasons, or the 2 seasons that we beat them by a point, and there's probably games they identify where they dropped a point or two, you know, like a draw here or a loss there, and they go, if only that was different. And we don't want to look back this time next year on the start of our season, the upcoming few games, and say, you know, if we prepared better at the start of the season, we easily could have won that game. And you said it yourself there, you kind of alluded to it, West Ham away is not a place you want to go where you're not fully fit. They caused us untold trouble last season in multiple competitions, and you know, it could be the same next Sunday. Obviously, I hope not, but the difference between this season and regular seasons is a lot. You know, when we put our 15, 16 or 14, 15 winning streak games, or game winning streak, whatever you want to call it, together, it's usually kind of between November and January. We've kind of kicked into full flow. But the difference between this season and those seasons is usually, in a normal season, you have 1 game a week in the Premier League for the first few months. You'll have your Champions League games midweek, but you'll have 1 Premier League game a week, basically until after Christmas, where it really gets heavy and you start to have your 2 games a week and all the cups are in full flow and it gets very heavy going. Due to this World Cup in November, they have to compact way more into before Christmas. We have 2 games a week, every single week, until November or October, November. I think there's an international break in there somewhere. That's still more football. So it's going to come at us thicker and faster than it has done before. So there's even more room for slip-ups. So the fact that we are not going to be fully prepared, and that's just the fact of the matter, we are not fully prepared, and that is not the player's fault. I want to stress, yesterday's performance is not the player's fault. It is the club's fault for not arranging a proper pre-season. And I said, I firmly believe we're a very efficiently run club. We do everything right from top to bottom. But this is a little flaw. This is a little black mark. And it possibly could cost us with the amount of games coming up thick and fast. Look at the fixture list. It's like a Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday kind of thing for weeks in end. So if we're not prepared, there's going to be banana skins there. And it's just something I wanted to get off my chest. It's just a frustrating one. I mean, I really hope that's not the case. I hope we turn out next Sunday against West Ham and look much sharper, fitter and faster than we did against Liverpool. I know another week's training under our belt will only do us a few favours, because some players do need to sharpen up. And they will over time. We are a fantastic team with unbelievable talent in the squad. But every top player needs to be sharp to look their best. And that's no different for us. So listen, I'm hoping things will improve by next week. I'm not taking yesterday's result to heart. I'm not taking yesterday's performance too seriously. Congrats to Liverpool. They did a proper preseason. They look like a team that did a proper preseason. They look like they're raring and ready to go. Likewise with other clubs. Arsenal won 6 of their preseason games in a row. Their new signings are betting in nicely. Tottenham seem to look good too. There's going to be big challenges. There's going to be teams, particularly in the early months of the season, when they're on a high and they're feeling fresh, will pose us challenges, and we need to be ready for those. Do us a massive favour if you would. Get down in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on everything we've said. I think it's an interesting conversation. I don't like to criticise the club too often, but when I feel there's something to even just talk about or raise, I will do so, and that's just what we've done now. So get down below in the comments. Give us your thoughts on everything we've said. Hit the like button as well. We've just passed 3,000 subscribers. Our goal for the summer was 3K, and you lot have done that for us. So thanks very much for that. The next big goal is 4K by Christmas, 4,000 by Christmas. Help us get there. Like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you tomorrow probably with a brand new video. Good night and God bless.